Hey familia, Miranda here. Welcome to another episode of First Viewing, where I share my thoughts and recommendations with you guys on films that I watched for the very first time. So I do actually have quite the load today, so we're just going to go on ahead and get right into things. Alright, so kicking things off with Akja. You guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this film so much. There's a lot of just heart to it, a lot of sentimental values. There's some pretty good truth behind it. And basically you have this girl here. She has been taking care of this super pig for the last like 10 years. And so basically there's this huge corporation that they kind of had some mishaps. And so they created these super pigs as a way, I guess, to like better or bring back up their company or whatever. And so they kind of just placed them all over the world and had some people take care of them for like the past 10 years. And so now they are trying to get all the pigs back so that they can basically slaughter them and, you know, create these supposedly non-GMO, meats from them, which we know isn't true. But basically, this is the story of this girl trying to save her pig from being slaughtered. And they just have the most, like, sweetest, adorable connection, which I absolutely loved. You do have a group of kind of, like, activists who are against, like, animal cruelty, who kind of help her along the way. But basically, they are trying to demask this corporation and, the truth about it not being, non-GMO, because obviously these super pigs were created in a lab and everything with chemicals and all that. And so it just is one of those type of films that really kind of gets you thinking about what you are putting into your mouth, into your body and everything. And, oftentimes foods are labeled non-GMO, organic, all that kind of stuff. But is it like real, can we really say that that is what we are actually putting into ourselves? Because, people, they can just cover things up with a little lie and be done with it. So honestly, it was such a great film, you guys, and I highly recommend you check it out. There's some pretty funny moments in here, but like I said, there's also a lot of sentimental moments in here and everything, and it honestly, there's just some beautiful parts and whatnot, and I really enjoyed this. All right, next up we have Middle School, the Worst Years of My Life. And you guys, honestly, I initially thought this was just going to be kind of dumb and cheesy, but boy, was I wrong. I am actually surprised at how much I did actually enjoy this film. The soundtrack in this is absolutely fantastic, but basically you have this kid here. He's at a new school because he got kicked out of several other ones, and basically he's the rule breaker, and it's a pretty kind of strict school, so he's set on breaking all the rules. And there is a kind of sad twist to this story, which kind of explains why he does what he does, like the way that he acts and stuff like that, and wanting to break all the rules, which I kind of thought I should have seen coming, but I don't know, I guess I didn't really kind of put things together, but I really enjoyed this one, and I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. All right, next up we have Blood Work with Clint Eastwood. He was absolutely fantastic in this film, and I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It is kind of about like a serial killer, but basically Clint Eastwood's character, he suffers a kind of heart attack while he's on the job, and he gets a new heart, and his new heart belongs to somebody who was murdered. Their family reaches out to him, even though after his accident, he, kind of left the force or whatever, and kind of, I guess, sort of retired in a way. But the family reaches out for his help to track down the killer. And you guys, I was very surprised at this one because I honestly did not see the twist coming. I really didn't. And so I don't want to go super into this film because I feel like if I did, it would just kind of give the whole story away. But the way things like played out and everything, I really enjoyed, and I would highly recommend that you guys check this one out. I would definitely say this is a underrated Clint Eastwood flick right here. All right, next up we have The Intruder. So if anything, you guys, check this out, especially just for Dennis Quaid. Now, Megan Good and Michael Ealy, I mean, they were both all right, just kind of a typical role for them. But Dennis Quaid in this, you guys, his role is so freaking intense. It's like you've never seen him before. He was just super creepy and just very kind of disturbed. And I absolutely loved his performance in this. He was just so, like, I don't know, spot on for his character in here. Just kind of psycho. This guy, he's like obsessed with his house, but he had to sell it for reasons that aren't really revealed until later on in the film. But he kind of, gets in between this couple here that he sold the house to, and kind of starts getting them to kind of like fall apart and everything, and argue and all that. And so he kind of grows a little bit of an obsession for Megan Good's character in here. But yeah, I really enjoyed how this played out. I mean, overall, it's a pretty decent like home invasion flick. You know, it's obviously the storyline's a little bit different. But yeah, I rather enjoyed this one. But yeah, like I said, especially for Dennis Quaid, check it out. All right, so next up we have Fury. This was absolutely fantastic, you guys. A great war flick. No, it's not necessarily based on a true story, but it does kind of, you know, lean into, you know, the type of like, you know, tanks and stuff that people were in, and just, you know, fighting from a tank, in which that is kind of one of the main things that I thought was really, really cool about this film. You know, usually when it comes to like war films and stuff like that, you really don't get to see much on like the tanks. Like you see them from the outside, but you really don't get that glimpse on the inside, and to actually see how they function, and like how the team has to work together to, you know, get things going and stuff. And so that you really, really get to see a lot of in this film, which I thought was just absolutely so cool. To see that aspect of it. But yeah, so this does take place, you know, where they're fighting off like Nazis and all of that. And the sad thing is that some of these Nazis that they're killing off are kids, which totally sucks. But we all know kind of how that time went and stuff, unfortunately. And it's basically, you know, just you gotta kill everyone and everything. So yeah, but there is a lot of just kind of blown up scenes about people getting blown up. So there's like plenty of gore and stuff in here. Not too crazy, like over the top, but there's definitely some like disturbing images. Like there's this one that I was like kind of really grossed out by, where there's like this kind of like half blown off face that's just like kind of like skinned, and so you have like just like the eye and like the ear and just part of the face. It was really weird. I don't know. And then that last battle scene, you guys, where it's the 5 guys in the tank against like 200, 300 Nazis on foot. Like it was bonkers, you guys. Like it was a complete massacre, and just wow, the way that the 5 of them took on all of them, it was just crazy. But this is just so freaking good, you guys. So definitely check it out. All right, next up we have Mystic Pizza. I know it took me forever to finally go ahead and watch this one, and I really enjoyed it, you guys. I can definitely see why this film gets a lot of love. It's such an easy watch, and it's one of those films that I can definitely see myself watching like time and time again. I mean, you got these 3 girls, they're fresh out of high school, so it's basically kind of a coming of age over the summer. There's like the whole love story, summer job type stuff and whatnot. You got one girl who's kind of set on getting married, and then kind of pulls back because she thinks she's maybe a little too young, like she's not really ready or whatever. And then you have the other girl who kind of gets this, you know, sort of like rich boyfriend or whatever, who's not exactly who he says he is. And then obviously you have the other girl who she falls for the father of a girl that she's babysitting and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I really did like this one, and I do see myself watching this quite often. It was just, like I said, so easy and like so relatable and everything. So yeah. And then Conchata, the actress, I forget what her last name is, but her even playing the pizza owner lady in here, that was funny because she also played the pizza owner lady in Mr. Deeds. So I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, all the characters in here have just such great chemistry, and I loved it, you guys. All right, so I did finally check out Phantoms right here. I will say it wasn't exactly what I was expecting, because when you hear the word phantoms, you just kind of think like ghosts and paranormal. But this was an interesting little mashup of like paranormal, monsters, sci-fi type stuff. So it was quite interesting for sure. But overall, it was a decent watch. I won't say that I loved it. I feel like maybe Phantoms is another one of those films that you just kind of have to have grown up on in order to actually have that love and like truly appreciate it. But I did enjoy it overall. I mean, I thought the performances were all decent. Liev Schreiber's character was definitely a little kind of perv, little creep in here. But yeah, overall, it's a good watch. All right, so probably my favorite watch from this batch was The Flash. Yes, you guys, and you know me, I'm really not huge on DC or even like the superhero type films or anything like that, but The Flash definitely worked for me. I don't know why some people are hating on it. I honestly thought it was like perfection. Ezra Miller, the Flash, I mean, I enjoyed kind of like both versions of him. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman was totally awesome. I loved it. And just the whole storyline of this and like kind of like trying to alter the past and, you know, the consequences that it can lead to like in the whole like future and everything. I enjoyed every single bit of this film. The comedy in here was great. Just lots of fun moments, dumb moments, hilarious moments. And I mean, overall, it's just a fun watch, you guys. So yeah, everything in this film worked for me, and I can honestly say that this is probably one of my top favorite DC films. All right, next up is this film here called Secret Headquarters. This one actually kind of gave me Spy Kids vibes, and I actually enjoyed this one way more than I thought I would. And Owen Wilson, I mean, he's technically the main superhero in this film, but honestly, I wouldn't really say that the spotlight is on him. If anything, it's on all the kids here. But yeah, his character, he kind of gets some good spotlight, some negative spotlight, considering he's kind of a neglectful dad who doesn't really have much of a relationship with his son because he'd rather be out saving the world. But anywho, so one day his son comes to visit. He gets a call that he has to go on a mission, and so supposedly his son is supposed to go back home to his mom. But instead of calling his mom to come get him, he calls his friends to come over, and they find the dad's secret headquarters under the house. They find out that he's this superhero dude, and basically there is this kind of energy company that is out to get the energy source that gives the Owen Wilson's character his powers. And basically they want it for all the wrong reasons. So it's basically the kids taking all these bad guys and stuff like that. And so, I mean, it was fun for sure. And definitely has some funny moments. And there's lots and lots of really cool little gadgets and stuff in here, which I thought was pretty cool. So I would definitely, you know, consider checking this one out. Like, I mean, it's a great little family flick, but even if you're just a grown adult, I mean, you're going to have fun with this one. Trust me. I mean, I did. So yeah, we got Secret Headquarters. All right, so next up we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So, you guys, I'm actually surprised that I really did enjoy this one. I enjoyed every moment of it. All of the character chemistry in here was just awesome. And I just loved seeing all of the different unique Spider-Man and like Spider-Girls in here and everything. And just the whole storyline and all of these like crazy multiverses. The animation here, there's so many different types of animation, which just made this like just that much more cooler to look at. All the bright colors and stuff, especially when they're going from like one universe to another and everything, they just all just pop. And just, yeah, the whole storyline, it worked for me. You guys know, like I said, I'm not huge on like superhero stuff and whatnot, and especially when it comes to like animated superhero stuff, not really my thing, but I really dug this one a lot. And I was just so mad though that they leave you hanging there. I'm kind of noticing that several films this year just kind of leave you hanging, which is super freaking annoying. So now I am definitely excited to see the next installment to come, but I did enjoy this one thoroughly, just every moment of it, the whole storyline, all the universes, and just all the versions of Spider-Man and all that. And I mean, even the one who's kind of the lead Spider-Man, I guess you want to call him, but he's kind of in a way sort of evil. I don't know, that's kind of how I saw him anyways. But yeah, great animated Spider-Man flick here. All right, so getting into the DVDs that I watched, I did check out My Brother the Pig, and as you would suspect, you guys, it honestly is super cheesy. It's pretty dumb. Eva Mendes, though, I really didn't care for her. Like, I like her as an actress, but her performance in here just kind of sucked. ScarJo, she was honestly a hoot, and basically you have this little brother who's mischievous, is annoying, and he basically gets turned into a pig because he touched some stones that Eva Mendes' character, who's the nanny in here, has in her room, which, why would you have those kind of like out in the open there, you know? But basically, yeah, it turns him into a pig and whatnot, and so they have to travel to Mexico while the parents are away on vacation, like Italy or France, I forget, one of the two. But they have to travel all the way to Mexico to her grandma's house to see if she can help undo this like spell or whatever. So I guess she comes from like a long line of not necessarily witches, but you know, I don't know what you want to call them. I forget what the heck the word is. Brain fart. But anywho, yeah, My Brother the Pig. It was all right, you know, just what you would suspect. All right, next up we have The Guest. This one, I really enjoyed Dan Stevens in this. He was really, really good. But basically, you can tell right from the beginning that he is just kind of there up to no good. Shows up on this family's doorstep, says that he was, at war with his son and everything, and the same troop, whatever. But you can tell there's definitely something off about him, and who knows what his real intentions are. Which, honestly, I don't really feel like they actually kind of revealed that. I mean, they kind of went into this whole thing that turned into like some sort of an experiment or whatever, and things went wrong, and so this dude just kind of ended up crazy, whatever. So I'm not exactly sure why he actually chose this specific family and did what he did, but I mean, overall, it's a good watch. I mean, the first half is kind of predictable, but then you kind of get into the whole like action stuff and whatnot, which was pretty good, and whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely kind of a bit of a thriller, if you will, but overall, I enjoyed it. All right, next up is this film here called Living Proof, which is based on a true story. Harry Connick Jr., guys, he was absolutely fantastic. He is the star of this film. There are some other like supporting actors in here, like Amanda Bynes, Jennifer Coolidge, Regina King, and like some others, but they don't really shine at all, if you will. But this has to do with him portraying Dr. Dennis Slayman, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, and how he created the HER2 drug to help fight breast cancer. And basically all of these struggles that he faced along the way, from, financial stuff, like, getting funding and all of that, and then having it taken away, and then getting it again, and, having to try and meet deadlines, but oftentimes they weren't met because the drug wasn't necessarily where he wanted it to be, but it was almost there, stuff like that. The sad thing that I actually really got from this film, though, is like, I mean, you always hear about like drug trials, but you never really hear about like how people are actually like accepted into like trying out the drugs and stuff like that. And this was just sad because he had to turn people away. I mean, all these women with breast cancer, but not everybody can meet the requirements for the testing of the drug. And once on the drug, like, because obviously it has to go through various trials and stuff. And so once actually on the drug, and if you're not getting the outcome that they're wanting, then they have to pull you so that somebody else can like try and like step in and stuff like that. So that was kind of hard. That really must suck as a doctor, having to tell somebody, no, we can't help you, or you didn't meet the requirements or the levels that we need you to be at, stuff like that. So that really was a huge bummer to see. It really does hit you guys. There's definitely some moments in here that really hit you hard. So definitely, have your tissues ready and whatnot. But overall, I thought this was a really, really good watch. The only thing I will say that I did not like about this is that for some reason, when they are like transitioning scenes, they do like a kind of like a white screen to like to transition in. And so it got super annoying because they just did it way, way too much. But other than that, I really enjoyed this. All right, so next up is this documentary here called Three Identical Strangers. And it is about these three brothers who were separated at birth and 19 years later come to find each other. So honestly, it was a very, very heartwarming story. But yet there's also some very heartbreaking moments in here where tragedy hits and everything. But it was really, really cool to see all three of them reunited, and, just experience what it was like for them, like getting to know each other, where it was like they met and they practically like knew each other already. Like they had this like crazy strong connection, which was a beautiful thing to see. And it was very interesting, and just all of the commentary and everything coming from, the three brothers, from their wives, from, family and friends and stuff like that. It was a really great documentary. They do kind of go into why they were separated, which was very, very unfair. I don't want to get into that because you'll just have to find out when you watch it. But yeah, it's a great documentary. Me personally, though, when it comes to documentaries, they're kind of a one and done type thing for me, just because I don't find documentaries to be super like rewatchable unless they're kind of more set like as a movie or something like that. But this one is more so like the commentary, you know, like all the shows and stuff they went on, the newspapers, all that. So it is really good. I would definitely say check it out because I definitely think you'll take a liking to it. But yeah, there's a lot of heart, there's tragedy, definitely some sentimental moments in here that were definitely getting to me a little bit. So got Three Identical Strangers. All right, next up is this film called Wildling. This one too, I actually really enjoyed this. Now, I wouldn't necessarily kind of classify this as like a werewolf flick, but it is something that has to do with like a sort of like myth-like creature. I don't know, maybe more so kind of like Bigfoot in a way. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically you have this girl. She was held captive by this one guy who she only knows to call him daddy. So for I think like 16 years or so, she was kept captive and pretty much like drugged up so that she couldn't turn into this creature that she's supposed to be. And basically this dad figure, whatever, made her think that there's this animal out there that she's being held captive so that this animal can't like get to her or whatever, you know, just kind of making her believe all these like crazy stories and stuff. So she's like never been outside or anything like that. Well, one day she gets found out, like they find her, the sheriff and stuff like that. And so the sheriff actually ends up taking her in to live with her and her younger brother. So they take her in, kind of, you know, show her the ropes and stuff. Like, mind you, said she'd never been outside, she'd never interacted with other people other than daddy. And so since he's not really in the picture anymore, they take care of her and stuff like that. But so she slowly is starting to turn into this creature, and that's what I really liked about this film, because normally when you see these like werewolf flicks or anything that's like creature like, the progression tends to happen very rapidly. This one actually went at a more slower pace, which I found to be kind of interesting, and I really enjoyed that part of it. I mean, everything from the fangs to the nails to the hair on her body and all of that. It was just really cool how it's kind of slowly progressed, and I feel like that's how it, you know, it should be. Not necessarily like a crazy like fast transformation or anything like that. But since she doesn't have like a snout or anything, that's why I wouldn't really consider this to be a werewolf flick. Like I said, I don't know, she's just some sort of like a mythical creature of some sort, if you will. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one, and it will be one that I will definitely consider upgrading down the road. All right, couple more films here. So we have this film here, Most Likely to Die. Basically, you have these group of friends that are reuniting after so many years. They're friends in high school and stuff. And so they join together in this like cabin or whatever out in the middle of who knows where. Basically, there is this killer dressed up as a graduate who goes off killing people. Honestly, it really wasn't anything super fun or not even necessarily like cheesy. I mean, it wasn't even like a cheesy horror flick at that, you guys. I mean, there's a couple of decent kills, but other than that, it's just a lot of slashing throats or whatever, which, I mean, isn't original. So, I mean, but they're basically being killed off as like what they were most likely to be or become or whatever, you know, when they got older, stuff like that. So their death kind of goes along with that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it really wasn't that great. If anything, it was kind of boring in my opinion, but that's just me. I mean, I like cheesy horror, but I didn't even find this cheesy at that. So that kind of says a lot. But yeah, Most Likely to Die, no go. And last but not least, we have Terror Tales. And this one, you guys, yeah, this was a no for me. So it is an anthology. You have 3 different stories happening here. You basically have this kind of like psycho dude who kidnaps this guy and his wife and daughter. The wife and daughter throws him in the back of a cargo truck, and the guy joins him up front, and they kind of go on this little road trip, if you will. And so this psycho dude kind of tells this guy all these 3 different tales or whatever. And mind you, though, none of them are like exciting. None of them are like gory. None of them are, I don't know, they're just didn't wow me in any way whatsoever. The first story, if anything, was a little disturbing because you have this mom who tries to keep her kids sick all the time, which was really kind of messed up. But yeah, so yeah, this was just a no-go. This was a bad anthology, you guys. I love anthologies, but not this one. So that is it for today's episode of First Viewing. If you guys have seen any of these films, please let me know your thoughts. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Join the family if you have not, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.